you can put on. You're welcome. Thank you.
So thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Buursink. So could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah. No, I don't know. Thank you for your time. And I understand that the microphone might not work loud, and I might not need the microphone at all. And there will not be any disturbance either. So if I talk about myself, I've been sitting maybe in your seat, not at this school, I have to be honest. I did a hotel school in the lower countries, Hotel to The Hague. Some of you might have heard about it. I'm Dutch nationality. I did the hotel school a few years ago. It was already a nice crowd, international students, which I thought was very interesting. I always had dreamt about working in hospitality since I was 12, 13 years old. There was no hospitality in my family, so I don't know where it has come from, but I made it through. I've been working after the hotel school for a few years for Marriott in the United States, Florida, food and beverage mainly, resort experience. Then I traveled around, in Asia, where friends worked in hotels, and I thought that was very interesting. Had the idea of working in Hong Kong, but then ended up working in Germany, Berlin, Intercontinental, Budapest Straße, also quite well known. Then I ended up in Brussels. I got married, 4 children. They are grown a little bit older. 2 of them are studying, no hotel schools, but different studies. And I've been working there for several groups, Starwood, and merged into Marriott. So I was back at Marriott, but then I moved to Hilton, and after that I worked for Pandox, which is a Swedish asset management company, and they own about 160 hotels, mainly in Europe and North America. And most of them are leased properties, so it's about rental income, but also operated properties. And I was in charge of the hotel, an independent hotel in Brussels, and 6 other hotels which we operated in Brussels. And then early this year, I moved to Villa to run the Royalp, beautiful mountain, 5-star, leading of the world property. And that was part of my dreams many years ago, working in hospitality in the mountains. So to serve customers, to create nice experience. And then going to the topic, customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction is actually already obsolete, if I may say so, because that's not enough. It's about customer experience, customer loyalty, and maybe we can try to talk through that a little bit.
Okay, amazing. Thank you for your little background checks, Mr. So you were talking already about customer satisfaction, and it's obsolete, but we can still consider it as a priority.
It is. It's the foundation. Let me be very clear, but it's not enough. Customer satisfaction, if you have that, you're medium, you're mediocre. If you go beyond it, then you will be successful, because people are willing to pay also, and that is very important even today, because we are in a business. They are willing to pay a price for a very good experience, but it should be unique. So then, as I say, it's an experience, and that is again, it is a little bit beyond already. So that requires a little of magic, I would say, to create it in your organization.
Very good.
Yes. So then, how can we improve customer service?
Well, I think you look in the mirror every day, you know. But it's as I said, it's about creating the right culture. It's a lot about, and we've heard that word many years already, but it's putting it into practice, empowering, making sure that in an organization, whether it's in hospitality or in another business, that every single employee, every single person who's involved in the organization owns the experience for the customer. Because it's not enough if the leader does something right, or if a group of 10 leaders knows what to do. No, it's about the very first, the very last experience, whether it's even in the kitchen, whether at the door, at the entrance. And these people, they should be able to make unique experiences, and they should not have a standard protocol. You know, the time of standard procedures is past history. People should be authentic. They should, of course, there's always rules to apply. I would call it the freedom within the framework. That they know, okay, until there, but they should be able to create the unique experience, and they should be your brand ambassador, basically. They should first of all have the passion to work for your organization, and I told you earlier, I brought a small book, and I think if you have time, you should look it up. Start Reverse. This is very interesting for leaders. I think people who work in hospitality, students, other businesses. The author is a very inspiring person, but here you really the point of departure is your customer. What is he or she expecting? And today, to answer a little bit further on the questions, your customer is owning the business. It's not your salespeople who will go out and try to sell the business, because the customer, they know your business already. Everything has become online today. So they set the expectations, but they will always compare you as well to other producers of the same service, the same product. And they, even more, they will give you the rating as well. They will decide whether you're successful or not. So that is why the focus on the customer today is so much more important than maybe 20, 30 years ago, or 10 years ago even. Yeah. That is why you have to have the right ambassadors, people who are passionate about your company.
Right.
If you don't have that, you might have satisfaction, but that is not enough anymore. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you for your insight, sir. So could we say there's a general trend in the customer satisfaction nowadays? Is there a certain way to approach it?
Yeah, I think it's the digital way. It's the, you can just not underestimate whether you go to the butcher on the corner or to the Ritz-Carlton. People look at the rating on the social media, whether they first look at the opening hours and then they say, oh, they get actually 4.9 out of 5. Well, that must be a nice shop. Let me see what is special there. Or, oh, that is 3 out of 5. I better go somewhere else. So that is something, again, 5, 10 years ago didn't exist. You would just go to the place nearby and buy your food, or go to the hotel, which is in the place where you would like to go. Today, people look at hotels as well. They might not even know where to go, but they want to have an experience. And they will decide, do I go to Zurich? Do I go to Munich? Do I go to Paris? Or they have heard something about a hotel. The destination is secondary. I mean, they will hear about the experience. So that is a trend which wasn't the case many years ago, because first you had to book your flight or your train ticket or your car destination, and then you would look at the hotel and you would choose Holiday Inn, Hilton. Maybe there was even a Marriott, or there was another local hotel which had a certain reputation, and that was known. Today, people, they're not looking for the Holiday Inn. They might still go to the Holiday Inn because they need a night, they need a stay, and even the Holiday Inn, with all my respect for Holiday Inn, I've had that brand as well, but they will diverse as well. They will try to stay away from the standard experience, because standard is boring. People want something else. So that is a trend as well. People always expect something new, more interesting. You have to create loyalty, but you have to make sure that it's good, but there's always a surprising thing, because if people come back 10 times, but it's 10 times the same thing, they will go somewhere else eventually as well, even if it is good.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for the answer. I just had another question. So since you said customer satisfaction was not enough, but at the same time, it's the foundation. So it is an essential part, right? So you can't really build on anything on top of it.
I said
right?
it's a trigger a little bit.
It's
like if you don't have the right bed, if you don't have the internet working, if you don't have the shower providing the right temperature of water, even today we should go a little bit down with the water, but that's another story. Then you're not in the right position. That is for sure. And customer satisfaction is definitely important. But I said it because I want to focus so much more on the loyalty, on the experience, which comes a little bit beyond the satisfaction.
Was there any roadblocks that were there when you were working in this industry through this sphere?
When the question is whether there was a toolbox when I started working in the industry, or?
Well, no. Was there any obstacles, basically?
Obstacles. Yeah, there's always obstacles. Whether we drive our car or we drive a business, I think the biggest obstacle, and that's for yourself as well, is change. Put yourself open for change. Be honest. Put yourself in the shoes of your customer, and then make sure that your team does the same thing. And for many people, it's very difficult to change something which they have been doing probably very good for the last 10, 15, 20 years. And to get them along in this process, that can sometimes be a little bit difficult. Mm-hmm. It's also difficult today, especially today, and that's why I also am very grateful being here, because I think you play a very important role in this, to find good people. The future of hospitality is in our hands, is in your hands, basically. And today it's very, very difficult to find good people on leadership level. But again, leadership level is completely irrelevant if we don't have the right people to do the check-in experience, to do the welcome experience, to do the housekeeping experience. So that is an obstacle we are facing today, I think, very much.
Thank you very much.
Was everything said and taken into consideration? What for you are you looking forward in this industry? What do you think will be brought up as new, fresh for customer satisfaction overall, but also how to have a well-functioning hotel?
I think you have heard a few things today already, and I really want to emphasize like this housekeeping program. That is just a perfect example of how we should approach our business. Look at all the processes and take away possibly non-value added processes, and that is like administrative process for housekeeping. The customer doesn't pay, certainly not more. He might want to pay less for it because he rather spends time with you on interaction, on a genuine experience. Have ambassadors available to go out with your customer for a city tour, to discover new things in the destination, rather than spending your resources in housekeeping administration. Sustainability is a very important point. I think if we are not more focused on sustainability, we put ourselves in a very weak position as well. So these are factors for future. If we want to stay relevant, we have to accept it. Don't force it. I mean, sustainability, we had the discussion as well. It's giving them the option, giving the customers an option of being more sustainable, explaining a little bit why we do it, and of course, always show the example. But don't take too much comfort away. That is a challenge. I mean, and again, in today's energy crisis, I work literally next door. You go down the road here, you turn left again, you go up to Villa, and you will find where I work. These people, people who come there, they also expect to have the shower very hot, the temperature in the room very warm, but we have to go down. There's a degree, soon 20 degrees is the maximum for the temperature. And that is a challenging factor in our business as well, because we like pleasing, right? We want to be, everybody has to be happy, and if you have to say no, sometimes it is difficult. So even then, we have to make sure that we create the right experience around it.
Absolutely.
So you would agree directly that this industry we're working on is more in the sense of people pleaser and trying to have everyone happy at the same time.
Yeah, we are in the please business. But that's why it is important that and answering no is not an option maybe, but you can, because you should always give something positive. But sometimes it is no actually. But it's the way we communicate it and we present it. It's educating your guests sometimes, and if you do that well. I think somebody asked me earlier today, who are your most difficult customers? Honestly, I cannot say that. I think if you would ask me, are they Americans? Are they Europeans? Are they Italians? Are they Asian? No. People have the right sometimes to be upset because we screw up sometimes, but then it's about how do you deal with them? And if you do it well, they will all be happy and they will all be open for a good conversation and be friendly. If you give it, you will get it back eventually.
Absolutely. We would like to invite the audience for some questions. Is there any questions? Yes, Mr. Michael.
So in hospitality, we always deliver good service, but sometimes things go south. Would you share with us an example of a guest recovery with a big runner?
Story.
Yeah, unfortunately there's quite a few. Then I should think of it's well I can think what was a painful last year, as I said, that's like a year ago, I think 2021, when I was based in Brussels at this particular hotel where we have all delegations, many government delegations, and we had the presidential visit of President Biden with his team. And let's say the number 2 was in a room where the air conditioning stopped working. And these rooms have been communicated long in advance. You cannot change the customer. These people cannot be changed to another room. That is just impossible. So of course, you get literally the whole shit over you. Like, how is this possible?
you bunch of idiots. How can it be that in this room the air conditioning is not working anymore? And I reached out to the person in question, and I found out she was a grandmother, and you start talking about a few things. Even if it is very difficult in that business, diplomatic business, but I made sure there was an appropriate souvenir of Brussels, which he could share with the family to bring a good memory back. In the meantime, we did manage to repair what was not functioning, and in the end, the result was good. Even the team, let's say the organizing team of this delegation, who are extremely stressed, they were grateful as well. And then okay, it has gone well. But it takes a lot of energy and time. It was a little bit more intense than what I say now in a few minutes. But there's more examples, unfortunately, to share. But it takes tact and time. And then again, I also try to explain to the team of what has gone wrong. How can we make sure this doesn't happen again? Because we all should learn from mistakes, of course. Here it was a technical failure, maybe, even though it could have been avoided. But very often it's human failures, I would call it like that, where we have underestimated the impact of certain behavior.
Absolutely. So you kind of distracted them with something else while you had the time to repair?
You try to gain time, and it's true, you let them focus on other things as well.
Which is okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Is there any more questions from the audience? Yes, Ms. Alicia.
Yeah.
First of all, Dr. Alexa from Swiss Hotel Management School, I'm very happy to be discussing this topic today because during the last couple of weeks, we discussed that in the classroom with students. So I have 3 questions. In fact, I had 5, but I decided not.
Okay, what's the
So
I can only handle 1 question.
okay, so we will be sustainable, right? So I have 1 question. Do you have defined customer journey, and how do you track customer satisfaction?
How we track customer satisfaction? We work, of course, with several tools. Being part of leading hotels of the world, they have their own system, so you get all the feedback from those guests. There's the Resonate program, who collects all the customer feedback from social media, whether it's Google, TripAdvisor, Booking, and there's a few others, you can name them. And of course, there's the direct feedback, which you eventually, preferably here in the hotel. The place where I work now, it was a very conscious choice. It's much smaller. It's 63 rooms, 22 chalets. So in theory, in practice, you can actually see most of your guests. So that is the best way to track your customer satisfaction. But the key is to make sure that it's transparent within the organization. Again, if it stays on a desk, let's say in the executive room, I really do not like that work. By the way, I personally think like a general manager who should be a customer experience leader, his or her desk should be in the lobby of a hotel. For certain purposes, you can sit somewhere in another room, but if you're not in the center of the activity, you miss the whole point. So that is where you track, in my view, customer experience, customer loyalty, customer satisfaction scores. And ask your staff, what they hear. They know more than what you will ever get to know. But I like to take the other questions as well. I just said 1 question at a time.
Okay, I will skip 1 and I will go to the 3rd one. What are the 3 books you would like to recommend students to prepare them to perfect customer journey experience? Those 3 books. Thank you.
I might come only to 2 books. But as I said, and I have no reason to promote anything. But this is so easy to read, and you will all want to read it in 1 day. This is the short version. There's a little bit longer, but it's as easy to read. It's as inspiring, and it's called Start Reverse. So you start basically you start from the customer point of view. The author is Andre Wieringa. He's extremely inspiring, and you try to get him over to the school, I think, for a guest as a guest speaker. He's much better than I am. And he is from the business as well. He knows what he talks about. But he does this in many other businesses as well. He had rolled this out in Citizen M hotels, for example, which I think is a very good example. Hobo hotels in Dubai, and he works on a few other hospitality groups, but also for IKEA, for example. So they make their blueprint for their business. So the employees, they decide basically how they want to be seen, how they want to be seen by the customer. What is the purpose of the customer in their organization? Why would they come to this company? So, and the second book I would recommend, to get back to your question, which I enjoyed a lot, it's many years ago already, and they have lost maybe a little bit of the cover. It's called The Starbucks Experience. I like that a lot. Yeah, you probably have read it as well. There's also Bill Merritt has written a book, which I think is very inspiring, because even though Merritt is a little bit old school, but it's still very solid. It's about, I don't know the title exactly, but it's of course Red and White, and it's easy to read as well. And then it's not about customer satisfaction, but a book which I really like, leadership book. It's from a successful American Navy ship. It's called Your Ship. It's Your Ship. It's from the 90s, from the least performing Navy ship of the US Army in the first Gulf War. And he turned it around into the best performing ship. And I think that is such a strong story, because it goes in our business as well. It's not because you work in the most beautiful hotel, which has been new built and $200 million invested, but it's about the people who are in the hotel who will make the hotel successful. I've seen hotels with the highest customer satisfaction scores, but literally the carpet was worn, there were holes in the wall, but people, they rate in the end the experience with the staff. So that is not a book. It's called It's Your Ship. And again, it's not difficult to read, not like a big Philip Kotler marketing book. This is what you read in a weekend and you share with your friends, and it will inspire you for the rest of your career. Believe me. Yeah. So 3 books. This is very nice. I can really recommend it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, thank you very much for your insights, sir. Hope that's answered your question. Everything was good. Amazing. Let's proceed to the
I
question.
think there was one more question
Even better, critical one.
but
That's a good question. Do we have time?
no, the question is something else. Yeah.
What I was just to ask is, have you seen the difference in your clientele, their behavior when comparing pre-COVID times and now?
Yeah, you probably refer to like 2018-19 and 2022. Of course, further down, I can see a big difference, but there's 2 groups, I would think. Some people are less patient, and there's actually people who enjoy it more, they appreciate it more, and they also understand that nothing is granted anymore. I mean, nothing is granted, and they, not where I work now, actually, we don't have a staff shortage, luckily, but in some of our businesses, hospitality, restaurants, it is just very difficult to find staff, and people have to be more patient. So they realize that, some of them. So that is a good point, but some of them don't realize it. So they have become a little bit more harsh and I think unrealistic in a way. Yeah. So it's just a pity, because it will even chase more people away from our business. They will want to work somewhere else, and that is not what we need, of course. Yeah. But yeah, it's challenging. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, so I think there's not many people, but I think they can ask you during our break time as well. You can find Mr. Buursink. Unfortunately, because of the time restraint, we will have to give him a big round of applause, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
I already took a picture of it.
Start first, yeah.
It's not promoting.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you for your time. Yeah.
thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much.
Whoever wants,
Always welcome to visit, next door.
exactly,
Thank
it's
you.
footsteps. We
Yeah.
can always.
But do you still take in CVs? I'm looking for an internship right now.
Yeah. Put them in. We do. I have to say, the hotel, I also work indirectly for a group called Sophos, SOPHOS. It's a Swiss hotel management company based in Lausanne, and we run 12 hotels in Switzerland, mostly independent hotels. Chamdoulin here, not far away, then in Villa, in Wengen, in the Geneva area, and also some abroad. So, and we have often opportunities. Yeah,
Nice, that's amazing.
and we're looking for good people, definitely.